Good day, everybody. It's Todd standing. Oh my goodness, lots going on today. So, as the title suggests, I'm just going to take a few minutes before I start answering questions to talk about the debacle that we'll call of Mysteries Decoded episode that played last week. If you haven't seen it, I'm s- if you're going to see it, I apologize in advance. Wow, what a bunch of awful, terrible, holy crap. A debacle of lies and deceit. My goodness. Um, if you watch the episode, you'll see the first little bit is reasonable and decent. I'm taking them out into the field. Hey, Amanda. And, we're having good success. I'm showing them tracks. I'll tell you, though, the woman with red hair was a complete wench. She was rude and obnoxious. She had no interest in doing any sort of investigation. She was, it was just terrible dealing with her. She spent most of her time in the truck, and the lies, my goodness. It's like they just lie and they're deceitful, they're dishonest, and they're just awful people. Um, Things like the thermal image that was filmed. That was not filmed by the guy who called himself a cryptozoologist. And I love that cryptozoology thing. Just so we're all clear, this is how you become a cryptozoologist. Hi, you're a cryptozoologist. Or no, this is the moment. Watch. I think I'm going to be a cryptozoologist. And you are. So it's absolutely ridiculous. The redheaded woman gave herself credentials calling herself a private investigator. Holy crap. Like, I'm trying to be nice, but I mean, she could investigate nothing if she, like, it was just going off the top of my head. She couldn't wait to get out of there. In the 2 days that she was there, she spent most of her time in the truck or back in town. She had no interest in investigating anything. When we were talking about things and looking at evidence, she basically took off and sat in the truck. She was arguing with the director, just being a very rude and obnoxious person, full of herself. Didn't even want to be on the show. She's too good for that show. And yeah, it was difficult dealing with her at all times, to say the least, and just saying rude and terrible things. And of course, she went off and found reasons to she went and saw a special effects makeup guy who's apparently done a Yeti and two Bigfoot, but they didn't show those his costumes of a Yeti and a Bigfoot, because I bet you they would have been terrible, So and then they did that thing with Meldrum that didn't look good at all. I didn't know Jeff felt that way about my footage. Jeff Meldrum says a few strange things, like he found my footage, two of the videos questionable. They didn't mention the fact that I showed him a Sasquatch, and that there are other pieces of footage that he looked at and said very good things about. So anyways, it is what it is. I was very disappointed. I could go into the step by step. The biologist she talked to over the phone that said bugs make tree breaks. Well, bugs do chew trees, but those tree breaks I showed them were obviously not chewed by bugs. They were obviously broken, like they were perfectly good trees that were snapped. So her debunking of the tree breaks was preposterous and irresponsible and incompetent, just to say the least. The spineless little co-host that was the podcaster cryptozoologist, completely spineless. Like, wow, stand up for something. Just had nothing, just a little wimp about things. No backbone whatsoever. So when he was like that in the field too, he lied. He said that he filmed the thermal image. That was a complete lie. She lied 15 times. I can't even, from her saying she had to go back to town. She wasn't spending the night with us because she was going to call Jeff Meldrum. If you look at the show, then when she's by the campfire and she says, "I'm going to go back and call Jeff Meldrum," that was actually voiced over. She never told anybody she was going to ever talk to Jeff Meldrum. And yeah, so she didn't go back to town to call Jeff Meldrum. She went back to town because she wanted to sleep in a hotel and she wanted to do her makeup, which was, you know, would take her 2 hours or something. So she was exhausted the next day because she had to spend 2 hours doing her makeup after sleeping for 6 hours. When I spent the night in the camp outside by the fire and was predatorily stalked by a black bear. They didn't mention that, did they? So, anyways, it is what it is. The last time I had a crappy show like that was Finding Bigfoot, and these guys, they played games. It was a big loss for me to go out there because I was in a minor car accident. It just happens, stuff happens when you go out there and take risks like that. I damaged my vehicle, so I lost money going out there. And the show was an embarrassment. I'll probably do a video of the show, like debunking and showing how pathetic she is. But anyways, um, so it happens. It's just going to be that way. I can't really complain because 90% of the time when I do a TV show, it's amazing. They do a great job, and I don't mind skepticism. People are gonna be skeptical about things, and that's fine. But when they go to some big overweight fat guy that does costumes, and all he has to say is he's sure it's fake, my stuff. Like, you know what, buddy? I take people out in the wilderness and I show them Sasquatch. You couldn't hike, you could probably hike half as far as the redhead who couldn't hike. A first little commercial break, anyways. That's what I have to say about that. So life goes on. Like I say, I will. What I'm going to do probably in the off season when I'm not out finishing off my expeditions is I'll do a little video about what a debacle that was. Like just I'll take the show and do a little voiceover of my own or a little break of my own to talk about how preposterous all the ridiculous. It just she was so what a moron she is. I mean, she couldn't investigate frickin' her left hand. She wouldn't be able. She would find it. Her left hand is a hoax. She couldn't prove her left hand existed. So, anyways, so uh, what's going on now is it's time for me to go get footage. I haven't got good footage yet. Hello, Atar and Daniel and Fred and Phil. How's it going, guys? SoCal Forest Ninjas. Love you guys. Hey, Robert. So, anyways, we're gonna yeah, I just got to go get footage this year. So I got to get my mind focused. October is a big deal. It snowed out here already. So when the snow flies and stays, I'm done for the season, which is really scary for me. There's a lot of pressure in the spring because I don't have footage for Discovering Bigfoot Part 2. Not great footage. So we got a photograph that's decent. And I'm going to actually do two documentaries. They want me to do California Bigfoot because I have footage of a Sasquatch that's very mediocre. But the story for the California Bigfoot's really cool. And Todd, let me know what you need on it. Yeah, thank you, Amanda. And yeah, I, I yeah, I don't want to talk about the episode anymore. So it just life goes on. Watch the beginning. The beginning's good. I really don't. And it sucks they didn't do anything about the fingerprint. They didn't do anything about the Sasquatch fingerprint, which I'm very convinced was a Sasquatch fingerprint, because the woman's a moron. She doesn't have a bloody clue about nothing. When we were shooting for the fingerprint that was on the glass of my trailer out there, she basically just stood there and looked at me. And I was like, so do you want to ask me a question? Did you want to chime in here somewhere? And she does that thing where she looks at you like she's really smart, but doesn't ask a question. So, and I suspected it would turn out like that. She was arguing with the director and being rude. And so I don't know what to do about the fingerprints, Beth. I'd love to have a fingerprint expert have a look at them. I took lots of photographs and pictures. So it'll be something that I just do in the future. But yeah, so I'll get into some questions from you guys. So yeah, people are talking about it. I don't know. A show like that though is so bad. They go see Meldrum and it was such a bad show. But Dan Priest says you're not a believer unless you've been face to face with Sasquatch. I disagree. I think the evidence is pretty significant. Sorry about the freeze ups. Be patient. But like I was saying, they're when you meet somebody you trust and they tell you Sasquatch is real, I don't know, when you look at the evidence and you see DNA and dermal ridges and all the work that's been done by Jeff Meldrum, Jimmy Chilcott, John Bitternagel, all these people, even Survivor Man's out there saying there's something out there and we got to figure out what it was. That's his way of being PC, politically correct, and saying there's Sasquatch is real and we have to go figure it out. So these are amazing, incredible men and women that know the species is real and have real evidence of it. So yeah, so Wild and Tactical says, hi, I watched a movie for the second time. Now I'm questioning myself why female Sasquatch has no eye movement, no facial expressions. Well, Wild and Tactical, she knew I was down there. So if you know about wild animals, and I never filmed her for more than 15 seconds, not even that long at a time. I think that was the longest shot I had was 15 seconds before water dropped on my camera because it was a snowstorm. The snow was melting from the trees above because it was sunny the next day. So all the snow was melting profusely. So anyhow, when any animal, I'm so sorry for these disruptions, guys. It has nothing to do with me. This is completely YouTube. I don't understand. I know so many people don't have any trouble. I got a super fast internet connection here. I don't know why it's doing this. Don't get too frustrated though by it. Anyways, when an animal or a human being when you're looking and you know someone's around, you're not calm and blinking. You're looking, you're staring, you're looking for something. And in video 4, she was looking for me. waiting for me to come out. She didn't know where I was. She knew I was down there. She was looking like I am right now. And you don't much blink. And I can easily hold my eyes open for 30, 40 seconds if I'm intently looking down like this, looking for something, maybe afraid, certainly, aware and alert that something is down there. Notice I haven't blinked yet. So I never I just never got her blinking, but she moved around, and whatever. People are going to complain about my footage. What am I going to do? Can I see your footage? And then the silence happens. Oh, can I have a look at your footage? And then they go silent. I'm extremely grateful I was able to capture real Sasquatch footage of a real Sasquatch, and you can critique it and complain it as soon as you come and show me how much better your footage is. One piece of footage. I have 7 different videos. Can't do it with one hand. 5 and 2, 7. So it goes up to video 8, but video 1 is just a tree shaking. Video 2 to 8 is actual Sasquatch footage. I'm extremely proud of that stuff. Extremely proud of it. And I'm working on video 9 and 10 and 11 maybe this year. I don't know. So, but anyways, and I have California footage too. So that is 8. So that would be the 8th one is the California stuff. So that'd be definitively 8 different videos. And then, so it'll be the 9th that I'm going after now. Anyways, that's a lot of footage. And I take people out and show them Sasquatch. I've shown over 25 people a Sasquatch where they go, oh my God, I just saw a Sasquatch. Yeah, you did. And we go down there and investigate and, collect other evidence, the tracks, the tree breaks, everything else. So, yeah, and there's Amanda saying, I believe that Sasquatch are real and have been face to face with them. So, some people need the evidence. I don't know. Just that's the way it is. I've never seen or heard of Sasquatch, but I believe in them. I'm sure I will see one. I at least expect to go out in the woods with a clear mind. Hey, Cap, that's a good idea, Cappy McCappy. So don't waste your time breathing, trying to prove what is so very there and real. They can find out themselves. Well, and I want to prove, though, so, and I'd like to take this discovery to another level. I'd like somebody to. If it's not me, somebody else. I believe that people shouldn't immediately not believe. That's just a sad way to view the world. Thanks, Joe, and I agree. Have a look at the evidence. It's pretty significant. So, Daniel says, Todd, I believe in his research. I've never been face to face with Sasquatch, but believe 100% that these sentinel beings exist. Yeah. So, thanks, Daniel. Hey, Todd, where is Discovering Bigfoot going to be filmed? Where is Discovering Bigfoot Part 2? It's being filmed right now almost entirely in radium, but I have Nordegg stuff I might add in there. So, I just have to go into post production. I literally have hundreds of hours of footage over the last 3 years to go through, just where people are, a Sasquatch busts a tree, a Sasquatch, you see maybe some eyes blinking. Maybe I'll put some John Bennernagel stuff in there that I have old classic stuff of. So I really just have to go through it all, figure out what I like the best, and then just go through it, because I have probably enough for 10 documentaries. I've seen a lot, like the episodes of Discovering Bigfoot. I literally have enough footage to eclipse them and devastate them with 15 hours of footage of real live interactions with Sasquatch and tracks and eyewitness accountings and da 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 da. So anyways, so I'll get down here to more questions. I'm questioning myself, if there's so many evidence that Sasquatch exists, why do we all have to be able to prove it or catch a Sasquatch? Well, you don't have to, Janet. Like I've talked about many times, the Skywalker gibbon, there's never been a body. No one's ever captured one. They just have DNA and they know that they exist. Todd, I can hear you, but not see you. Thanks for having us. Yes, it'll do that sometimes. So, Bomber, refresh your browser, close it down, reopen. So, Steven, once you get that feeling from then out, you can't get a general feeling of what when you're being watched. Anyone who's seen at least one of them knows what I mean. I know what you mean, Steve. Hey, Todd, sorry I'm late. Hey, Dick James. I watched the show, Todd. Didn't help the case for Bigfoot. I was watching Mr. Decoded show on a regular basis. The redhead made me depressed. I couldn't take it. And yeah, I agree, Calvin. It sucked. It really sucked. But you try. That's all you can do. I know Jeff Meldrum and John Bennernagel were in a movie that was on History Channel. It was a total hoax, BS, lie movie. And that was probably the worst thing that ever happened for Bigfoot. They actually put on a costume when they alleged to catch a Bigfoot in a cage, and they had a man in a Bigfoot suit in a cage. So that was really bad. But, what are you going to do? So I talked to John and Jeff about that after. I was kind of upset, but, they didn't know, and nobody knows. And you just go with the flow and do the best you can, right? So we are in the realm of paranormal. This is not an accepted discovery, right? So you're dealing with paranormal. You're going to have, strange, weird people that do dishonest, bad things. So, William, you find my movie on Netflix, or just Google it, and it's all over available. It's been very well distributed by Warner Brothers. So, he's not defensive, is passionate. Yeah, I am passionate. I'm probably defensive too, but I risk my life for my footage. Like I put so much into it. It's so freaking hard. People on expedition understand. They come out and they bleed with me, and we suffer. And I've never got footage on an expedition with other people. Not great footage, anyways. So they know how it's even harder to get footage. It takes more time and more patience. And these expeditioners come out for a week and they bleed and suffer and go through what I do all year. So it's hard. So Jeanette says, Dan Priest, I see them. They must be really good because not even the best Bigfoot hunters can take a GPPD footage. I don't like acronyms. I said PC a few minutes ago, but I made sure to say politically correct. The acronym, it's an acronym crazy world. The DDP on the GBT on the DBTA, and I'm like, what? Why? What? Time for me to leave. No acronyms, please. Hey Todd, it's Danny from. Hey Danny, and Danny is Body Fishes. You told us about another spot called Nordegg, where some of your footage came from. How did you find that place? I just got called out there. I always wanted to go to that particular area. I was always attracted to go there, and then I went out there with a guy who turned out to be a lunatic, but the spot was absolutely real. So it was these trappers who really were interacting with Bigfoot and having Bigfoot stuff going on around Danny. And yeah, but I don't have any footage. I have no footage from Nordegg ever. All my footage, Danny, is from Radium, where you went with me. So unfortunately, you were there for a week of rain. It was 9 days of rain. So that sucks, but because big primates don't come out in the rain, and I always tell people that. And I think that was, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the first expedition ever where we were rained out the entire time, which really sucks, but it was going to happen eventually. And yeah, it's just the way it is. So, Sand and Sunaholic, Todd, why don't you think they don't hurt you when they run? Todd, why do you think they don't hurt you when you've run into them? They don't hurt me because they like me, I hope. And if they wanted to hurt me, I would get hurt. They're just not violent. They're not angry. They're not hostile. Sasquatch can be violent and angry and hostile. Don't get me wrong. I've been to research sites where they're angry and pissy and mean, and I leave. So the research sites that I stay at, the Nordegg one, they were very good and agreeable to me. Radium, they were very good and agreeable to me. In California, I'm not ever going back to that spot, ever. That Sasquatch will probably kill me if I go back there. He hurt me, and yeah, that'll be in my California documentary. That guy latched onto me and showed me how he was going to kill me. And then when I left, I was never going back there. So, and I've seen Sasquatch get really angry and hostile like that. Sometimes, see, the thing is, in the beginning, primates are just going to be like that. Like Diane Fossey, Jane Goodall, especially Diane Fossey, the girls will charge and be angry, but they calm down. So when they don't calm down, or if they initially are extremely violent, I'm out. And, the extreme violence, I've seen that happens. They'll hurt people. And you could also tell just there are other things too, where they're just angry and hostile. But my Radium group was kind of, they showed a lot of adversity, but they didn't hurt me. I was tenacious with them. They were smashing food gifts. That was a big sign, right? I put out food and I come back and the apples are smashed on the ground. Like, screw you, right? So, but they overcame it eventually and they started to trust me, and I just try to be good, and that's it. Dick James says, I'm going back out for a week at the end of October. Hopefully I can get some evidence this time. Good luck, Mr. James. Dick James? Hope that's your real. Anyways, Mr. James, I'll call you. Good luck. I really wish you tremendous success. I wish everybody who's going out and doing this stuff, take care of yourself, be safe, and please get some footage and some evidence. Please, please, please. 'Cause, man, it's hard. So, Mr. Stanley, your footage is the best representation of Sasquatch to date. Love what you're doing, and you've inspired me to do boots on the ground research. We will be in touch. That's funny, people saying boots on the ground too. That's Jimmy Chilcott told me that. He was the first one to ever throw that at me. And now, I hear a lot of people saying it, and that's good. That's what we need. We need boots on the ground. And enough theorizing, enough speculating. And you know what? People can theorize and speculate after you go get boots on the ground evidence. Until we get the actual hands-on evidence, your theories are worthless, unfortunately, or they have very little value. So, no question here. Much respect to your research and your videos. Thank you, SoCal Force Ninja. SCFN. 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 Is Sasquatch dangerous? They can be. Or not. Most of the times not. I mean, even when they were angry, hostile Sasquatch with me, I'm still here. I'm not injured by them, or not permanently injured by them. So they'll warn you. They'll let you know. You got to figure it out, man. This is a discovery. If someone tells you they're going to know, they don't know. And what are Sasquatch going to be like in Texas or Florida, as opposed to the Sasquatch up here in British Columbia or Washington, right? You're going to different individuals, different things. Maybe a Sasquatch was shot and has a bullet wound in him, right? You think he's going to be happy about people? No, he's not. Maybe a Sasquatch saw his mother and his father get murdered by people. You think he's going to be a happy guy? No, he's not. So, it's going to be different every single troop. It's not going to be the same for troop to troop in Texas, from troop to troop in Florida. You get different individuals like the natives. Some of them will scalp you, other ones will trade with you, right? You're dealing with an intelligent being of that level. Think of them as a people and, move and base yourself on that. You got to earn their respect too. I don't think there's never been a case where I just got instant Sasquatch respect. So I don't think so anyways, but I believe they exist, but prefer not to have a one face-to-face fetish, because face-to-face is terrifying. It's very terrifying. What do you think of the average? I don't think Sasquatch will live beyond 40 years. Just dentition, rotting teeth, all that kind of stuff. I know there's lots of, even I'll say it, and without even any, anyhow, like I was saying, I just, because of dentition and, you know, even the fact they're so big, right? When you grow big like that, like a big dog doesn't live as long as a small dog. I just don't think they can go past 40, 50 years and be pushing it maybe. Yeah, and again, that's my theory, but I have no evidence. I have not enough evidence to substantiate that. So I'm seeing that I believe the big guy in my group in Radium, I think he's the same big guy. It's been there for over 10 years now. So, with that being said, I haven't seen him yet this year. I haven't seen him in a couple years. So, if I can see the same big dominant male, when did he become dominant? Probably, actually, I can't say that, but maybe he's starting to gray. So, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to figure that stuff out, right? So, what do we got here? Dan Priest. Yes, if you have something to tell us, we'd love to hear it at bigfootencounter@gmail.com. We have a forum at discoveringbigfoot.org. So Stream of Harmonics says, I think many people do not seem to realize how difficult it is to get real solid evidence of Sasquatch. Very difficult unless you're very lucky. I couldn't agree with you more, Stream of Harmonics. Holy crap, is it hard sometimes. Like, you just think it's such an uphill battle. You bleed and you suffer and you risk so much, and it costs so much. It costs life experience, it costs lifetime, it costs money financially, it costs, it's hard on the family. My little boy would cry when I would go out on expedition. Please come home, Daddy. He would cry. He'd leave in my suitcase. He'd put a paper saying, when I open up my suitcase out on expedition, I'd open up and there'd be a paper there saying, Daddy, please come home safe. I love you so much. Because that little boy knows. He's been on hikes with me, not backcountry, but he's been on hikes. He's seen me get charged by bears. He knows there's terrifying mountain lions out there. He sees the risks and the danger of it all. And he would cry when his daddy went on an expedition. Every single time, it hurt my heart. So it was very difficult for me to go do that. But I need to teach him that you follow through with things in life. And just because it's hard doesn't mean you quit. You don't give up on things because it's hard. And it won't, I'm not quitting. So unless it comes down to my children or Sasquatch. So, and I have some issues going on right now that it's getting to be that bad. And, but I don't want to quit, and I could never really quit. It might be the expeditions I can't do anymore. I don't know. So anyways, it's a long story. Things are going to get resolved in the next month. Going through a horrible turmoil in my family right now with all this stuff going on. But I got these things to do. I have plans. I'm doing my expeditions. I'm fighting for this discovery. And yeah, and believe me, I'm fighting for it. Holy God, do I fight for this discovery. Whew. Sometimes I think, man, why am I... Oh. That's why I got angry, and I wanted to sue Fish and Wildlife passionately. I'm pissed off. That's their job. I don't get paid to do Fish and Wildlife. I'm not a steward of wildlife. It's their bloody job to be stewards of wildlife. Why aren't they out there making this discovery happen? I'll take them out. I'll take you out, and I do expeditions. I'll do an expedition with biologists. So, And I put that challenge out there for years, and something's happening with that right now, and we're going to see how it goes. But, it's not my freaking job. I don't get paid. I have to pay to do this. And they have the resources, they have the money, they have the networking. They should be doing this, not me. And that's why I will continue to sue and pursue litigations against Fish and Wildlife, because they're not doing their bloody job, and it ticks me off. So do your job, Fish and Wildlife. So, because I don't want to do this discovery. You think I want to do this stuff? I could do a million other things I'd like to do. So, but I feel like I have a responsibility. I left this uh, Bigfoot research for a year because I had a traumatic incident happen where I was attacked by a bear, and I had to shoot it, and it was a horrible, terrible situation. And it traumatized me, and I didn't want to do this stuff anymore. Uh, but I left, and I didn't even talk to anybody about this for, it was a good year, a solid year. I did nothing. And I came back and I thought, what's going on? What's changed? And nothing's changed. Everything's the same. Nobody's got anything new and impressive, and it's frustrating. So, and I just have so much going on. I go on a freaking hike in Yoho National Park, close to where I live. I love it. It's one of the most beautiful national parks in the world. I go on a hike, and there's lots of bears, and I whoop to get rid of the bears, and a freaking Sasquatch charges at me. And I remember the Sasquatch in the bush. I'm looking over. I can't see him, but he's just outside of my range of sight. He's like 4 layers of trees back. I see him in the shadows. I'm looking over, and I'm gonna go, dude, I don't want to do this. Go away, Sasquatch. And he's all mad. And he's bagging at things because I'm making Sasquatch sounds. And I'm thinking, this is my freaking. I'm retired. Go away. And the Sasquatch are still there. And then I go in the bush, and there's tracks all over the place. And I could have probably gathered evidence that day, but I'm like, this is my Sasquatch time off. And they're out there, guys. And I love the wilderness, and I won't deny they exist. I am a wilderness expert, not a Sasquatch expert. I know about elk and bears and mountain lions and terrain and how to move and track. So I just happen to know Sasquatch are absolutely real. So, oh my God, somebody gave me a donation and it took off. If you'd like to give a donation, most of the donations, when you make this donation on here, they go to YouTube. They take most of the money. So if you'd like to make a donation or be part of the cooperation, go to discoveringbigfoot.org. If you make a donation through Patreon or through PayPal, which is the link on my website, I get pretty much all that money, and I'll give you stuff. So if you want to become a monthly donator, I'm going to go after that like crazy, probably in November and December and January. I'll be doing court cases and doing post-production and talking to people about Sasquatch, and really, doing the theoretical after my boots on the ground time. In the wintertime, I don't chase Sasquatch around. I leave them alone because it's hard enough to survive without me chasing them. And so, that's and I'll pursue the court case as well. So you spoke of the paranormal nature of Sasquatch. How do you feel about when people claim to have telepathic or astral communication with them, or even the phasing nature? I don't know anything about phasing nature. Telepathy is real. It's absolutely real. And I'm strongly convinced the Sasquatch, I'm even lying there, I know they have that ability they have extrasensory perception. Absolutely. I think they powerfully have extrasensory perception. And ESP, extrasensory perception, is an absolute scientific fact. 2 decades ago, I was looking at it in my psychology class. And now, with Princeton's research and the third eye blind guys and the CIA, that stuff is just totally real. Like, there's no question about it. The science is going to catch up, but extrasensory perception is absolutely real. So, yeah, and thanks, Daniel. I don't like that Sasquatch is paranormal, but we have to accept the fact that it's currently paranormal. And yeah, so that's just the way it is. So I attest to what Mr. Standing is saying about the expeditions, as I was part of one in August. Takes work and effort. Yeah, Atar, we worked hard, right? Like, we were bleeding. I hurt my knee. You were having trouble through the rocks. Like, man, we bled. We totally bled. Like, we fought. We suffered. I literally bled. An expeditioner had to go across this crazy stream, and it was Daniel, and he lost his shoe. So I gave him my shoe, and then I had to walk back without a shoe and cut all my foot up pretty badly because the terrain was really rocky and stuff, and hurt my knee the day before badly, limping down the mountain with a tar. It was funny. So yeah, old bull elk have 12 in rough hard time life being males. Well, North Olympics, I think what he's trying to say is old bull elk have it tough. Old bull elks do have it tough, very tough. Yeah, it's very hard for all animals. I have so much respect for the bears, the mountain lions, everything. So thank you very much, Travs man, for your $5 donation, and I will use it for my next expedition. I tremendously appreciate that. Thank you very much. Um, and Amanda puts there Patreon, discoveringbigfoot.org. You can make donations there. So it's almost like trying to spy on a stock of very intelligent animal in their environment. Brad Beatson, it's almost like trying to spy and stalk on an intelligent animal. You are so correct. Absolutely true. It's not like almost like it is. It's trying to sneak up on an intelligent being. I wouldn't even call them an animal. Highly intelligent, highly adapted, knowledgeable, brilliant species in their environment that knows every bird sound, every squirrel chirp. So that is exactly what it is. So, but I have a plan that I've been working on all year, and thanks to Atar, I'm going to go implement that plan where I'm going to go in. I've set things in motion in their environment. Well, it will allow me to go get footage of them. I've worked very hard. I have a plan A, B, and C, and these aren't like when I say plan A, B, and C. There are three different plans. Not if plan A fails, I go to plan B, or no. I have plan A that I'll implement that I think will be very successful. Plan B is this totally separate plan to get footage, and plan C. I have three different plans. If I'm successful with all three, even plan A, B, and C have I. So there's always other potentials. Just in case you don't know, almost only one time ever has the footage that I planned to work out worked out. It usually works out in some other way. Like I have a plan of action, and then something else happens, and then I still get my footage. So that happened every time except no, I guess video 8 was planned like sort of like that, kind of. No, actually, that was still not exactly as I planned it, but video 5 with Jake was planned that way, and it worked out very well. Like video 4, I was not planning on filming that female like that. I had a totally different plan of action, but they just implemented. They're so deep and they're so intelligent, the Sasquatch, and they have such a rich, so many levels of protection and evasion, and they're so far ahead of me that I can't, I can't calculate for all the things that are come into play, if that makes sense. So Steve says over the 4 I've seen, 2 are original 3. The male was around for years. He was also the one I got closest to. I saw the details of his irises. Well, Steve, you should definitely go to bigfootencounter@gmail.com or go to the forum and talk to people about that. That's amazing. Congratulations. Yes, very intelligent. Masters of the wild. Yeah, I agree. Masters of the wilderness. So, hey, buddy, you're absolutely amazing. Thank you, Peter. Attempting to accept them in Australia. Good luck, Peter, in Australia with the Yowie. Man, I wanted to go there and do that stuff. The Blue Mountains and the Darnum Junk Tribe invited me to go down, and I just haven't been able to do that, which sucks. But hey, Todd, I got a vocal in my new research 3 days ago. Congratulations, Brian. It wasn't loud. It was just sounded like someone else talking, so it must have been close. Yeah, that's really cool. I always find, Brian, that they seem close and they aren't. So it's weird. They project really well. It doesn't matter if it's a tree snap or because when you're out in the wilderness and it's really quiet, like when you're out in real wilderness, it's so quiet. I could literally whisper like this and somebody 10 yards away. But it's that quiet out there. It really, really is. And I always I'll go, oh, that sounded 20 yards. Let's go have a look. And I go and it looks like it's more like 40 or 60 yards away. So I had a tree snapped, busted like violently on one expedition. I was like, wow, that was like 4 yards. It was like 100. So it's always more than what I think. And, but anyways, every single time without question, they're always much further away than I think they were. And also that probably comes with a lot too, is when they're making sound 90% of the time, it's from high ground, right? So at high ground will travel better. So yes, and there's Amanda going, hey, Steve, you have to give us a description, please, Steve. And you can, if you're on Facebook, you can friend Amanda. Amanda's awesome. She'll totally take care of you. So if you're working with Amanda and doing Sasquatch stuff with them, you're working with Todd Standing. That girl has got my back and front and side. And Phil is the same way. And if you talk to Danielle, and these are just Atar now, Atar can't be on Facebook. If we could find a way to get Atar, what are we going to do with you, man? We're going to find a way to get you more involved in this stuff. Atar is brilliant, and he has incredible insight. And he's got, especially what's amazing about Atar is he thinks very differently than I do. And he's a powerful little dude who's got a powerful mind and a very successful man. And I like that kind of insight. You know, like Amanda too. That's why I get along so well with Amanda. Amanda will tell me like it is, man. Amanda's got something to say to me. She's gonna say it. She tells me that. And but anyways, the reason I'm saying all this stuff is I really these people are that work with me that I've made. You know, if you ever talk, Phil, what are you doing online? Phil does my website and stuff. But if you know, I don't think Phil's on. Are you on Facebook, Phil? I don't remember. Anyway, not getting much sleep right now. So, but yeah, and I need to keep growing, man. You know, I see some people naming themselves something Sasquatch and they want to help out. There's uh, a guy who runs the Discovering Bigfoot Facebook page, Cameron Jesser. I mean, gosh, you work so hard and do stuff. You talk to them, you talk. I don't know. They're so good, and I really have to start working with these people more. And just so much. I was doing that, and anyways, I need help, guys. I do. I need help. I can't do this on my own. I'm so humbled by how much work this is and all these people that are helping out with it. And I'm so deeply moved by the belief you have in me, Amanda and Atar and Phil and Daniel. And, you know, you guys are just like, wow, it just brings tears to my eyes how you guys are just devoted and awesome with me. So thank you. So anyways, here's a question from Kevin. What do you think of some of the attributes are to Bigfoot other than paranormal and other than having bad big feet Sasquatch? I don't understand that question. Well, they're not paranormal. They're in the realm of paranormal, but I don't like that, and that bothers me. Oh, okay, so I saw some good questions I was just looking at there. Darn it, froze me up for a second. Oh my God, look at all these people here. That's awesome, all you guys talking. So, chat room, yeah, chat room after. Oh, I can't do the chat room today, guys. I'm so sorry. I have so much freaking work to do. I have another TV show dancing around me. So please go to the chat room, guys, and chit chat, though. So please like or subscribe and share Todd's videos. Thank you, Daniel. You guys are awesome. And thanks for greeting people like you do, Atar. Yeah, and Amanda's always there. Share your stories at bigfootencounters@gmail.com. So, Dick is back. It's hard to find animals dead in general in the forest, bones. It's so hard, man. I mean, I find elk and deer, but they're ungulates. They've been torn apart by predators. You know, gosh, I've never found a bear skull, a mountain lion. And man, I've been out there so much. So much. So much time out there. So when I get GV Games. So lots of great questions here. Good evening, Susan. Do you think some of their vocalizing could be mating calls? I definitely don't think so. Um, Definitely not. They always seem to be talking to me or interacting with me. No, I would. That's a good question. You guys always have such good questions. What an awesome questions. It's something I never even thought about. But I would say absolutely not. So I believe this is a male-dominated troop. I believe the big male has his females. I believe breeding females when they're breeding time, or they're around their big guy, and they stick with their big guy. And yeah, just think of it like guerrilla troops, where big dominant male with his females. He has a call to his females. He guards them and protects them. And I've seen tremendous evidence where the big guy rules, go boys. Like when the big guy says come home, they come home. When the big guy says stop, they stop. So when the big guy comes around, the little guys don't interact. They just let the big guy do his thing. They follow his lead. And he's arrogant and omnipotent. He's a powerful entity. That's his home. That's his family he's protecting. And believe me, you feel that power. When he steps out and he comes around, I usually tell expeditioners if the big guy comes, we're going home. Home time, bye bye. And I really would. I would leave. I mean, he'll flip cars. Uh, he's just devastatingly powerful, and never. It's very rare I'd say 20% of the time that the big guy comes around, it's not a bad experience. And I mean bad, like bad things, flipping, smashing, tearing, go home, I don't want you here kind of encounters. And I think there's a good possibility that 20% of the time that I didn't have a bad encounter with him, it probably wasn't him. It was probably one of the other big males. So, Sylvatic Bigfoot, how are you and Les go out together in cameras? I'd love to do that again. Les gets invited every year. Um, he's busy. He's got lots of stuff going on. Jeff gets invited every year, and a couple other PhDs and other people that aren't public yet get invited, and it just hasn't worked out yet. So, um, Aresh says, yes, I've seen the scale analysis video, but that didn't convince me. The nose is exactly the same. Anyway, he's cool, and I respect what he is. Well, thanks, Aresh. Yeah, and if you don't think the footage is real, whatever. I take people out. If you don't think the footage is real, believe me, the people coming out are real. So then you're thinking, and most people will go, well, video 3 is pretty impressive. You should be impressed. A man can't run that fast. So then people will say things, and this is crazy to me. Well, I think video 8's real. I think video 3 is real, but 4 and 5 and 6, I don't really buy it, but I'd like 7. It's thermal. You can't with it. So people get all this stuff going on, but if if you're convinced and I can't convince you that my footage is real, for God's sake, I'm not fooling Jeff Meldrum and Survivor Man and John Binnernagel and all these expeditioners. Like, I'm not fooling these people. You got to understand, none of these people have ever seen any evidence of hoaxing whatsoever. None of them. Anybody who comes out with me has never seen anything ever to even slightly indicate I was hoaxing. No costumes, no buddies running around the bush, zero evidence of hoaxing in any way, shape, or form when it comes to boots on the ground. And that's how I get my footage, is boots on the ground. And if you ask these people if I know these areas, clearly I know these areas backwards, forwards, and sideways. I know roots and nook and cranny and rocks and stones. I've been out there, trust me. I spent hundreds of days in radium, almost 1,000 days in the backcountry now. And I know that the space is infinitely large, and it's not every rock, but I know the trails. I know my way around. I can figure, you know what? I know the rivers. I know the routes. I know where to go. I know this stuff. And they see that, And, so the reality of boots on the ground happening should shake up your mind big time. So this is legit stuff. Everybody, this is legit, real. The freaking problem is, it's so bloody hard for me to get footage. I have to darn near kill myself and go backcountry and bleed and suffer, and I can't take expeditioners on that. Most of them can't do that. So there's some tough guys that are going to come do that with me. I'd love to have them around, but then ask a hunter. When 2 people go out, you're 10 times less likely to get your quarry. I'm 10 times more likely to get success on my own for so many reasons, because they know me, because I can do better things on my own, because there's less scent, there's less mistakes, there's, you know what I mean? I'm just far more likely to get success on my own, and it sucks. But that's the reality of stalking and hunting. And I do it really well. When I get out there and I nail it, I nail it. I smoke it. I can go and hide my tracks and hide my scent. Who's going to go out with me and not eat for 3 days? Because you know what happens when you stop eating? You stop pooping, right? You're always going to have to drink water. I'll always drink water. So, and I can urinate in places to hide it, because I have a few little tricks and secrets and things that I do. But it's who's going to not eat? You starve, you hurt, I damage my body. I'll go out there when you don't eat for 3 days, you start burning muscle tissue. You come back and you feel pain and you're exhausted. I don't sleep. I sleep like 2 hours. Like, it's so freaking hard, guys. So that's what it's taken for me to get success. You bleed, you suffer. Like, when I come home and my family sees me like beaten and bloodied and suffering and sleeping for 3 days, and I get up and I'm all stiff and decrepit because my body's been consuming its own muscle tissue. You can't do that forever. Like, I'm in my 40s now, and I'm not really showing any signs of wear and tear much. My knees were hurting this year, but I think there was another reason for that. So I'm still managing this stuff really well, but this stuff's going to catch up with me. Like, it's bad. The smashing, the crashing, the blood, the falling, oh my God, it's so freaking hard, and this is what has to be done. So that's why it's frustrating for me. Go get footage. You go risk your own freaking life and get footage, and go spend all the money and dedicate all the time to do this. I go out for a week and then I get rained out. There was one year it rained for 3 bloody months. I was out for like a month and a half, I planned, and it rained for 3 freaking months straight, and I didn't see a sign of Sasquatch. While I was out there bleeding and suffering and praying for it to stop raining, I'm talking day and night, horrible crap rain, you know? And that was, can you do you even understand how frustrating and painful and hard that is? How much money and time I'm away from my family that I love and adore. I didn't see my son hardly at all for a month and a half while I was out there bleeding and suffering in the rain. And the rain, when they don't come around, is the worst thing to be in. You're wet and cold and you suffer and you can't start a darn fire for nothing. The wood everywhere is soaked and drenched. You suffer, man. And I didn't get footage that time, So, and then you come back. Why didn't you get more footage? Can you imagine? Ugh! You're like, you know what I did? You know how hard I fight for this? And it's not just about footage, it's about evidence. So, anyways, let's get back to some of your awesome questions here. 25 years, interior Olympics of 35, not one bare bone found. Thank you, North Olympics. 25 years of 35, not one bare bone found. I bet you didn't find a mountain lion fragment anywhere. Did you? And I don't think they have wolves. You probably don't have wolves in that area, but you'd have you seen? They'd have coyotes out there. Have you seen coyote bones and stuff? Like it's just and so do you have badgers? Have you seen badger remains? Like the list just goes on and on. All the species out there. So I don't see rabbit remains. I see rabbit scat all over the place. But rabbits when they get killed, man, they get totally eaten. So Robert Garner asked, says they bury their dead, and I don't know about that for sure. There's some good evidence to show that they put their dead in caves. The Langchun China thing, but Mason White, Sylvana Cooper. Hey Todd, have you ever thought about using scent killer? I have. You know what I do, Mason? The truth is, I eat so freaking clean that I don't smell. I just don't. And you can ask my ex-wife and my girlfriends. I just don't smell. I eat really, really clean, and then when it comes before expeditions, I'll prepare for my hardcore backcountry expeditions by eating even cleaner, like just super, super clean foods, tons of vegetables, uh, uh, clean proteins. And I just know how to eat where I just don't give off any scent really. So, and I stay clean and stuff. So, and I try I try to pace myself. I don't even sweat much. And when it's out in the cold, even in the summertime, I don't know, it's pretty chill around here. It doesn't really get super hot. And I always got rivers and stuff to stay cool. So the rivers are freaking godlessly hell cold out here. And yeah, so I know I don't need, I wouldn't even try to do that scent stuff anyways, because it's going to smell worse. What I do have to hide is your urine will always smell. So hiding that and not going to the bathroom, doing number two, I mean, that's going to smell, right? So when you get out there, when you get real boots on the ground, you really see like it's hiding your urine, hiding the scent of that is hard, and you're going to urinate. You got to pee. You got to drink water. I dehydrate and get so crampy. I can't go 3 days without water. I think I can go a day, maybe a day and a half without water, but not 3 days. And it's always hard. How big is the biggest Sasquatch you've seen, Todd? I don't think more than 9'4". Biggest. I have I have colleagues that I just love and adore tell me about 12-foot Sasquatch, and man, that's so crazy. Like, I love these colleague friends of mine, but 12-foot, 15-foot Sasquatch, that's insanity. You're talking like freaking King Kong. Because what happens is every foot taller they get hundreds of pounds bigger. Like I'm 6'3", barefoot, flat on the ground. And I'll weigh, a good weight where I'm thick and, I got, big arms and wide shoulder. I'm thick and I look beefy is 240. I mean, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger was 240 pounds at 6'2", right? So, and I could be a lean that's big. And a Sasquatch is only, let's say, so I'm 6'3", let's say he's 9'3", so he's 3 feet taller. And that Sasquatch is going to weigh over 900 pounds. So he outweighs me by more than 3 freaking times, and he's only 3 feet taller. So he's a third taller and 3 times the weight. Do that math. Like they're freaking enormous. So like enormous, huge. I believe I've seen evidence of like 18 and a half inch footprints in Alaska. Damn, that's big. Now you're talking probably 10 feet tall. And I got a friend in Alaska who wants me to come up there, and she's got some stuff going on. I'm like, oh my god, she's the one that has the 18.5 inch track that I think is totally legit. That's a 10-foot Sasquatch, probably. Scared? Very scared. Very scary. But that's the biggest I've seen. And remember, get that in your head. I think the weight, honestly, I think the 9'4" guy, I think he was nearly 1,000, probably 1,000 pounds. That the impressions were just scary. His footprint was about 17 and a quarter inches, between 17 and a quarter, 17 and a half. And you better be 1,000 pounds of beef. Like he stands sideways. He's as wide as I am, front ways. Like that is crazy. And I'm a good sized man. You see someone enormous like Brock Lesnar, say I think he's 6'3" and he's 300 pounds of muscle. And a Sasquatch is literally over 3 times the weight of Brock Lesnar. The guy's a monster. A monster. 300-pound beast, one of the toughest men in the whole world. And a Sasquatch is 3 times. A Sasquatch would pop him like nothing. Like Brock Lesnar's a beast. Went into the UFC and destroyed people. He's a monster. Super powerful, freakishly powerful. I guarantee you a Sasquatch would just flick him like a little bug. It would be pathetic, any altercation between them. There's not enough jujitsu or form or wrestling technique in the world to take on a, like, I remember thinking about that stuff. Oh, I could use, because I studied jujitsu forever. I love grappling. And yeah, you don't grapple with the Sasquatch. You're not putting him in an arm bar. No Kimura is going to work on a Sasquatch. Not in this lifetime. So it's just, yeah, really, really, really understand that. Some people get romantic about this idea, and the Sasquatch are big, and man, yeah, and you go see one, then your whole life changes. It's like, what? They really, like Jeff Meldrum, they made a Sasquatch in that. There was a phony show that I talked about earlier that he was involved. As I was saying, they made a Sasquatch to Jeff Meldrum proportions, and when he saw the skeleton, the first thing he said when he walked in the room was, "Oh, that's totally wrong. That's way too big." The Sasquatch was to his proportions, and his proportions are my proportions. He's very uh, in line with how big I think they are, and that's how big. When he saw it and he realized that those proportions are correct, and it really is that big, he's just like, "Wow, it's freaking scary." The difference between, again, he was punched in the face with. His theory is they're 9 feet tall, and they weigh about this much, right? And then when they make the actual skeleton, how big he exactly as he told them, he's like, "That's too big." No, that's the reality of being 9 foot plus and over 900 pounds. So yeah, terrifying, terrifyingly large and powerful. They would, if you see a silverback gorilla, they're huge and built beastly and enormous. A Sasquatch would whoop their ass and be pathetic. So Sasquatch are like grizzly bear powerful. So so we got Jamie talking to SoCal Ninja. Hey, I'm 5'10" with 14-inch foot. Really? Some people have pretty big feet. I'm 6'3" and I have a really small. I think my feet are like 12 inches or less. So I got little feet, but they work great. They work great. So Cameron F, I didn't even see here, SoCal. What's up? You guys are talking. That's cool. Questions for me? What happened to the lady that was helping? The ladies are always helping. Doing well. Just got home from work. You guys are chit-chatting. That's cool. Let's get down here. I think it costs about 3,500 plus travel, and Cameron said a passport. If you guys are talking about the expeditions, yes, they're 3,500 to come on an expedition, plus just the flight to Calgary, Alberta, Canada. But you could just go to the website. It's on discoveringbigfoot.org, the expeditions page. And the expeditions are just doing so well. We're so comfortable now. We're in a nice, comfortable trailer, nice, comfortable beds. We have, our food's all better and improved, and we got electric bikes to drive around on every second day. And yeah, what's the average height of a Sasquatch? Oh my God, dude, I don't know. I think the males get big. I think the males, but I've seen males that didn't seem to. The blackface Sasquatch in video 3 or 8, sorry. I think he was fully grown. I think he was old. He had male pattern baldness, it looked like. I think he was only like 8'5". So they don't all get massive. I'm definitely aware of that, Yeah, between 8'2" and 8'5", I think he was. So yeah, and I think I saw an old Sasquatch who was grayish, the salt and pepper old guy, and I think he was tall. I think he was 9 feet about, but slim. right? Very slim and slim legs, but maybe just because he was old, he was getting slim. I don't know. Maybe he was slim his whole life. I don't know. So, my hometown is around a dormant volcano in the Appalachian Mountains. Cool, bomber. Todd, have you ever smelled a flowery or sweet smell? Yes. There is a big difference between, well, no, no. Let me put it this way. It's a sweet, stinking smell. It's never like, flowers. The sweet Sasquatch smell, it reminds me quite a bit of gorilla smell. It's very similar. And the sweet smelling stink, or yeah, it's definitely a stink. It's not a pleasant odor, is acutely happening. And the old smell, it's that same smell, but it's older and it's sour. That means, he's been smelling for a long time. So we have a few more questions here, guys. 8 foot, 8 foot 5 is enormous. I totally agree. It's thick, big. Actually, 8 foot 5 though, his body wasn't as big either. He wasn't like I wouldn't think he was more than 600 pounds. I know that's big, but just muscular wise, he just didn't look like he had it going on like the big male in the group. So very interesting. People are very different, right? Some people, men can be, 5'2", and men 6'5". It's a huge difference, right? So that's like a 20% difference in height, and that's 8'5" to 9'3" is only, what is that, 15% difference? So you're going to get those kind of differences, I'm sure. And yeah, when it comes to Sasquatch, it's about brute strength, because but the endurance guys, like I'm bigger than Les Stroud, so I'd beat him in a sprint. I probably got more power than him in certain ways, but endurance wise, like anything over 400 meters and the survival over time, he's gonna annihilate me. The little guys are tough, man. They're survivors. You've got to give, and honest little guys. What do you mean? Like little Les Stroud's like 5'9". He's not really little, but he's got this endurance thing that is tough. And I've built myself up to be the middle distance guy at best. And when it comes to endurance, the endurance guys will survive. And my point is, through tough times, the endurance guys, they need less calories to survive. They're better built for long periods of arrested development. And yeah, so give the we brag about the big Dwayne Johnson, the Rock, that beast, but you put him up against some little guy over a distance to survive or distance to run, or doing something for a full day, one thing for a full day. Dwayne Johnson's going to get killed. He's not built for that. He's too big. Doesn't have any kind of endurance, and that's something I see in the wilderness. The wolves, man, they got endurance from hell. That's how they beat the big bears. The wolves are like, when you see wolves, the big ones are 200 pounds. A bear's like, a medium-sized bear is like 400 pounds. They get up to 600 pounds. They're huge. 600 pounds versus two. And I'll tell you, those wolves, oh boy, they have endurance. Endurance. They'll wear you down. They wear out the elk, those big rutting elks that are enormous. They wear them down and catch them and eat them. And the coyotes are the same thing, just endurance monsters. And that's what's impressive about them. So lots of cool things being said here. What Sasquatch gave you? What Sasquatch gave me the biggest scare? Oh, yeah. When I got picked up and they ran with me, I think. I guess so. That was a really good question. What Sasquatch gave me the biggest scare? It's gonna be. I'll just do one more question after this, guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you for all these awesome questions. The biggest scare, that just off the top of my head, was probably even just in recent mind. I've been scared a lot, but it was the California Sasquatch. That'll be in the documentary, where he was showing me how he was going to literally kill me. I could feel him. His hand grabbed my whole middle body, and he was just doing this, like, feel death coming. Now I'm going to release you. And are you sure you really feel like I could just crush every rib and every bone in your whole chest and destroy you? And he gave me a toss. He treated me like a rag doll. I've never, only a Sasquatch has ever, like, there's no truck. You can get hit by a truck and not feel power like that. I'm talking organic hand grabbing my whole body like nothing. I've played football with giant men, like 6'9" monster men that are huge, big brows, these awesome, amazing football players, offensive tackles and guards, these beasts I've played football with. People didn't throw me around ever. The strong guys would, toss me. I'd really hold my own. There's no holding your own with the Sasquatch. They are ridiculously large and powerful, And when a Sasquatch latched onto me like that and just was like twisting me in his my whole body, 200 and I was probably 230 pounds that day, and just twisting me and holding me like I was nothing and tossing me off like I'm a, people say little rag doll, but so we broke an hour today. I'll just do one more question, you guys. I love these shows. You guys are so fun. I know they're sensitive to all kinds of electronic and infrared, but there's got to be a way to catch them off guard with tiny hidden cameras. Do you think bird-shaped drone could work? No, no, Sassy Q. And thank you for the question, and I appreciate your insight. I think you're completely wrong. I don't think they can sense electronics. I don't think they can't. There's no way. There's no way. There's no being. I'm totally not convinced that they can see infrared at all. But what they can see, though, is when you're a tracker and you see bent blades of grass, you know there's something over there. The Sasquatch, this is what I'm trying to even teach military people. The natives will look for a guy's track, and he'll be able to pick up the guy's track, and the guy's looking to set up a trap, and he'll know that there's a trap over there just based on the man's trackway. That is a step ahead, and the Sasquatch are probably another step ahead of that. And when I say that, if you go into Sasquatch habitat, they're probably watching you. They're very likely watching you. And if they're watching you put up a camera, good luck with that, right? They just watched you put it up. That's how crazy it is. And I've seen so much evidence of that because just in so many ways, they're just probably always watching when you're in Sasquatch habitat. So now how do you set up a camera when they were watching you the whole time? And I've been trained in counter surveillance, survival evasion, all those things. The Sasquatch are at a level like you can't even dream of counter surveillance, survival evasion, all those kind of things, right? Escape techniques. They've got it all planned. They can figure that stuff out. They're born and raised doing this stuff on a daily freaking basis. Because you know who Sasquatch are going to train with? Other Sasquatch, right? So it's like iron sharpening iron. And I realized that when I saw play and interactions amongst themselves and the fun they have amongst themselves. And I realized these guys verse themselves and now forget about it. Like I thought, who are they going to have to evade? Bears and wolves? That'd be nothing for them. Other Sasquatch, because there is going to be competition. There's enormous sexual dimorphism in males, which means the males are larger than the females, which means there's enormous competition between males. And if there's competition between males, that's going to go into all facets of survival, including counter evasion and survival evasion, counter surveillance, and all that stuff, which is very important stuff. So Sasquatch are going to try to hide from Sasquatch. Now you have an excellent elite tracker like the world has never seen versus another elite tracker. You're talking about iron and sharpening iron. Kill that. It's a diamond sharpening a diamond, right? It's above titanium sharpening titanium. Now you go verse these guys. That's why I so profess, for God's sake, people, don't verse them. Don't verse nature. Don't verse Sasquatch. Don't go verse it. Survive within it. Find an equilibrium and a love within it. And try to get those teachers, which was what Sasquatch means. Wild master, wild teacher is another translation for it, right? A master is a teacher. And that's what the natives, that's the way they feel about Sasquatch. They're the teachers. They're the top apex thing in the wilderness. So they're the teachers. Do you know what I'm saying? So here I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? I've been watching too much Nate Diaz. Hanging out with some really cool guys from Baltimore. Some black gentlemen there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm getting along well with these guys. We're having fun. So, okay, Sassy Q says, if they can use mind speak, then how can you rule out that they can't see electronics? I can't 100%. It's just, it's just a different, it's a totally, there's infrared is, you see it visually, and no being has ever been able to sensory perceive an infrared light. If you're talking about electromagnetic fields and stuff, sharks do that, but sharks do it with special gel things that they detect, like hammerhead sharks pick up electromagnetic fields of life forms. So a shark could pick up electromagnetic fields, but I see no evidence for a Sasquatch to have those gel sacks to be picking up that stuff. But you could be wrong. They could have those gel sacks. I could be wrong. They could have gel sacks in their hands and be picking up electromagnetic fields. And I hope it's not that good, Sassy Q. We're having a constructive conversation here, and I immensely appreciate that. But just what I know about electromagnetic fields and stuff, I'm not saying no. I'm saying I really don't think so. And I'm strongly convinced that they cannot see infrared light. Strongly convinced. There's just no way they can pick up that infrared light spectrum. But now if you're talking about ESP, they're going to sense you around. They're going to sense your intentions, and they're going to know you're being sneaky. Now they're not going to trust you. Now they're going to not come around. You see how there's so much other Sassy Q. There's so much good evidence of how they can evade us with your energy, with the ESP, with their tracking ability, with heart tracking that I'm trying to teach people about, where you feel energy of things. There's so much other reasons to evade that I would put that, even if that's a capability they have, it would be something they don't really need. And it's just so far down the scale of things to be concerned about that I'll give it just such a low priority, you know? So, but and I may make that discovery this year, Sassy Q, which it's a great question. Thank you for asking it. And again, you may be correct, but I'm gonna take it to a new level. I want to shine an infrared spotlight in the face of a Sasquatch this year. And there you go. You got out of me with your awesome questions. That's one of the things I intend to do is, as long as I can get that infrared spotlight thanks to Atar. Thank you, Atar. I'm getting a piece of equipment that I need. It's an infrared spotlight. I've had one before. I'm getting another one thanks to Atar's donation and help. And I'm going to shine that thing right in the face of a Sasquatch. And I expect he'll look right at me and not know a darn thing. Infrared light is inconsistent. Anyways, fantastic show today, guys. Oh my God, you guys have so many amazing questions. Let's do this again next week, right? I think the odds of me doing this show next week are extremely high. So, yeah, I'm not going to talk much about the expeditions and stuff that I'm doing because they're top secret now. But they're happening. I'm very excited about this year. I'm very excited about getting new footage. I think the odds of me getting new footage after all that's happened this year are very high. I have really, really high hopes. How often do you hear me say that? And yeah, it's a troop. It's a troop I know and I'm familiar with. It's the Wild Bunch from Radium. I've filmed them before. Most of my footage is from Radium. You know, from video 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There, all my videos that you've seen up to video 8 are all from Radium. So video 2 and 3 are not from Radium. But yeah, so I have tremendous confidence in the way things have fallen into place, and I believe I'm going to get it. I'm strongly, you know, and the fact that I have Plan ABC and ABC has Plan I, and I, you know what I mean? Like, we've got so much stuff going on, and thanks to the help and support of all the people that I've had helping me this year, I'm very excited to get out there. So my phone's dying, guys. You know, discoveringbigfoot.org for the chat room and stuff, and you know, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for all your awesome questions. And you guys stay safe too. And I wish you guys enormous success with any research that you're doing. Please go get some footage and some evidence. And please, there's no competition here. I'd love to help out more. So you guys take care. Oh, and there's Discovering Bigfoot Net live chat. So Amanda just put that link up. And yeah, discoveringbigfoot.net. I thought it was .org, Amanda. Are we .net now? Anyways, Amanda's usually correct, so just go with Amanda. So you guys take care, and I'll see you all next week. Bye for now.